The silence over the Strait of Hormuz broke without warning as the pre-dawn mist was incinerated by the rhythmic, low-frequency thrum of dozens of heavy diesel engines igniting simultaneously across the naval piers of Bandar Abbas. From the jagged coastlines of the Musanda Peninsula to the deep-water moorings of the Iranian mainland, the environmental reality was one of sudden, calculated mobilization. The sharp scent of marine fuel and salt spray filled the air as the massive gray hulls of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy transitioned from static positions into an aggressive, wedge-shaped defensive formation. Far above the surface of the Persian Gulf, the humid atmosphere vibrated with the presence of surveillance drones and electronic warfare platforms. While on the water, the sheer scale of the deployment began to register on the radar arrays of every Western vessel in the theater. This was not a routine exercise or a localized patrol of territorial waters. It was the physical manifestation of a critical strategic ultimatum aimed directly at the heart of the global maritime order. According to Iranian state media and official statements released by the IRGC's high command in Tehran, the Iranian government has officially deployed its largest naval fleet in history to enforce a 24-hour deadline regarding the presence of foreign military assets in the Gulf. Iranian officials claim that this fleet, consisting of over 200 fast attack craft, specialized missile frigates, and the recently commissioned Shahed Maddow 4-base ship, is fully prepared to execute active denial operations against any vessel that violates their newly declared maritime exclusion zones. Military spokesman in Tehran stated that the primary objective of this mobilization is to secure the regional energy transit routes from Western interference, asserting that the fleet is equipped with long-range Noor and Gator anti-ship cruise missiles capable of neutralizing high-value targets at the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz. Include what the primary actor says this action means symbolically. The Iranian leadership has framed these events as the final warning in their strategic patience doctrine, asserting that the IRGC maintains the sovereign right to dictate the terms of security in what they term the Islamic Lake of the Persian Gulf. But the story quickly became far more complicated. Before we break down the specific technical capabilities of the IRGC's missile frigates and the strategic implications of the Shahed Maddow's deployment, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest dramatic developments shaping global geopolitics. We are committed to providing the most detailed, objective analysis of the maneuvers that define international security, and your support ensures we can continue to deliver these critical reports as the situation develops. According to U.S. Fifth Fleet officials and senior defense spokesmen in Washington, the operation is being viewed as a significant but manageable escalation that has already triggered a comprehensive defensive response from the coalition forces. U.S. authorities stated that while the IRGC deployment is historically large, the majority of the vessels are small, light attack craft that lack the endurance or sophisticated electronic shielding required to survive a modern saturation strike from Aegis-equipped carrier strike group. To understand the scale of this counter-narrative, one must look at the technical mechanisms of naval defense. The U.S. Navy utilizes a multi-layered sensor network that integrates satellite reconnaissance with shipborne spy, 6 radar arrays, to track every thermal signature across the Iranian coastline, allowing for a synchronized response that can neutralize threats before they clear the territorial horizon. U.S. media reported that a localized blockade is already being countered by a freedom of navigation formation led by the USS Abraham Lincoln, with analysts noting that the IRGC's ultimatum is legally unenforceable under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Between these narratives lies a complex reality that analysts are still working to understand. Why does the Strait of Hormuz and this specific naval fleet carry such immense strategic weight? The answer lies in the geography of global energy and the vital role of the Iranian coastline in projecting power over the world's most critical maritime chokepoint. By deploying the fleet at Bandar Abbas and positioning missile units along the Qeshm Island Ridge, the IRGC has effectively placed its hand on the jugular vein of the global economy, as this passage facilitates the transit of over 20% of the world's total petroleum consumption. Attacking or threatening this transit lane carries strategic weight because it forces the international community to choose between a costly military intervention and a devastating spike in global energy prices. Connected to the broader confrontation, the inclusion of the Shahed Maddow is significant because it acts as a floating command and control hub, a capability essential for coordinating a swarm attack that can overwhelm the defensive batteries of even the most advanced Western destroyers. The message was clear. Iran has the intelligence, the reach, and the physical mass to hold the world's energy supply hostage at a moment's notice. The cascading consequences of this ultimatum began within minutes of the fleet's departure, triggering an escalation pyramid that is currently reshaping the global order. First, the immediate military reaction saw the deployment of additional F-35 squadrons to regional bases in Qatar and the UAE, while the British Royal Navy reportedly moved a secondary frigate into the Gulf to bolster the commercial escort missions. Second, regional governments reacted with a mixture of quiet support and public alarm. Saudi Arabia and Kuwait immediately placed their naval forces on high alert, with Omani authorities attempting to mediate an 11th-hour diplomatic off-ramp to prevent the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Third, the global market and economic reaction was instantaneous, as oil prices surged by nearly 11% in overnight trading, with Brent crude crossing the $95 mark amid fears of a prolonged maritime shutdown. That spike in energy costs has consequences far beyond the borders of the Middle East. Fourth, diplomatic channels reached a fever pitch as the UN Security Council convened an emergency session, while European allies pressured Washington to avoid a kinetic strike that could trigger a wider regional war during a period of existing global inflation. Finally, the domestic political reaction in the United States has seen a sharp divide, with the White House briefing congressional leaders on the necessity of maritime decapitation, while critics question the risks of engaging in another open-ended conflict in the Gulf. The Iranian government maintains that this naval mobilization is a defensive necessity aimed at protecting their territorial integrity and regional status. The United States maintains that the deployment is an illegal provocation that threatens the fundamental principles of international commerce and maritime safety. As the 24-hour deadline approaches, the international community finds itself at a crossroads where the line between a symbolic show of force and a full-scale naval engagement has become dangerously thin. The sudden presence of 200 Iranian vessels in the primary shipping lanes, combined with this latest ultimatum, has created a power vacuum where a single miscalculation by a junior commander could lead to a catastrophic chain reaction across the global economy. Will this naval deployment remain an isolated incident, or is it the beginning of something far larger? Stay tuned for further updates as this situation continues to develop. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the latest dramatic geopolitical developments shaping the world.
The system is prioritizing the hostile contact.